everyone, and welcome to our daily word. It is Wednesday, but you could join me for our continued conversation through Scripture and how it applies to us. Today is daily word number 615. So thanks for carving out time to be with me, setting aside these few minutes to engage with me in this conversation. What some of you I know do it in the moment, and others you chime in later, sometimes a couple of days later even. But thanks for just joining me in this ongoing conversation. I'm just thankful that you've chosen to continue to be with me in all of these days in our ongoing conversation. So our scripture for today as we gather on this day in October is from Isaiah chapter 40, verse 29. He gives strength to the weary, and to him who lacks might, he increases power. So, we live our lives, our entire lives, it seems like, searching for might. Now, might, M-I-G-H-T, takes on a lot of definitions, I know. We'd like to build muscle, endurance, strength, wealth. We like to climb the corporate ladder. We grow our influence in the world through networking, through being part of a team, through showing some effort for displaying skill. And all of that seemingly is an attempt, to be strong, to have some might. And pursuing might, is part of our human condition. I remember a long time ago, when I was a teenager, our neighbor, his name was Steve, we were talking about the Olympics coming up in a few years, and he and I talked about, me lifting weights and being stronger so I could be part of the Olympics. Obviously that didn't happen, but we talked about building might and building strength. It's part of our human condition. But so is weariness. When we run out of gas, when our strength is gone, it's part of our human condition. The last couple of days I've been a little bit out of gas for whatever reason, and wonder how I'm going to fill my tank. It's this interesting twist, this fascinating twist that we get in the scripture that reminds us that our unexpected source of power is God. And God provides power when might is gone. It's when our ability to strive without depending on God is completely diminished, that we tap the inexhaustible source of power, and that is God. I've said this before, and I continue to say it as we live our lives. We have this skewed definition of what it means to be strong. We tie it to greatness. We tie it to being first. We tie it to America first. We tie it to being first in line. We tie it to rushing first in the grocery store. We tie it to our rather hefty bank accounts. On Sunday morning, I'm going to talk about Zacchaeus. It's almost as if this childlike story stirs up in us when we talk about Zacchaeus, because if you're like me, you can't help but to sing the song, Zacchaeus, the chief tax collector. Not just the tax collector, but the chief tax collector was full of might and strength, and he gained power and wealth. He was first. But then Jesus encountered him, brought salvation to him, and Zacchaeus' life changed. Our greatest strength, however, comes from an open dependence on God. There are three things that in life that we can control. One of those is who we trust, who we depend upon. When we depend upon ourselves, our might is limited. But when we come to the end of ourself, when there's nothing left, we see God with this unlimited view of might. Our faithfulness in all of this shines in our decisions, whether our circumstances are favorable, whether we're building superficial strength and wealth and power, or whether our strength is diminishing, we just can't seem to go on. God provides for us and gives us strength. Here the scripture, he gives strength to the weary, and to him who lacks might, he increases power. And so for all of us, as we live our lives in these days, and we're moving forward, and we're going to move to the month of November, and we turn towards the holidays. Man, I'm knee deep in my office right now and planning Advent and Christmas and all of that stuff. And when you start planning that, you get a little overwhelmed. So I backed up and start talking about Thanksgiving with family members. Where are you going to be? Do you want to come be with us? How's that going to work? Because I thought, well, we've got to get all this planned. But then I'm reminded in this text that when we're weary, we get strength that comes from God. When we lack might, God increases our power. Not power as we know it in the world, not greatness that is so warped in our thinking, but strength, to know that our source is God, and that it's God who moves in us and shapes us and gives us strength. So when we have this skewed definition of what it means to be strong, we need to back up and look to God, and to know that when we're weary, God is our source of strength. Today, in a conversation with a friend about sunshine and how it makes us feel good, and then there's these dreary days like this. And I said, well, today's one of those days that it's a make your own sunshine kind of day. And it's true that it's days like these dreary, weary days that make us feel dreary and weary. And then we just need to be reminded that our source of strength comes from God. And so, as we live our lives, as we do them together, may we be reminded of that and look to God for our source of strength and our source of might when we're weary. So, I hope that's a good word for you today as we live our lives. Thanks for carving out this time to be with me. Thanks for joining me. Know of God's love. Know of God's strength and might in you today. Know my love for you. Won't be a daily word tomorrow. Mom and I have another doctor's appointment. We will not be with you tomorrow, but I will see you Friday morning at 10 o'clock. Have a great day.